Hello everyone, this is Sonya with Sonya Budgets, and welcome back to my channel. Thank you to all the new subscribers, and a note, I have been trying to respond to everyone's comments, and I think I may have missed some. I'll go back through and look and see if I've missed anybody or not, but I hope I haven't missed anybody. But on this channel, we budget every 2 weeks, and then in between budgeting, we watch our money and make sure that we stay within the lines of our budget. This video is a request. Well, actually, I had just finished recording a video here a while back. I don't know if it's been week or 10 days ago, something like that. I don't remember. But as soon as I got through recording it, I got a message from a young woman. She's my nephew's wife, and she had some questions about the question she had was, how do you know how much money to put in a sinking fund? So I told her I would do a video on it, and I've been super busy and haven't had a chance to do it yet. So I'm going to go through, do just a quick rundown on how you decide how much goes into a sinking fund. First of all, I don't remember if she asked me about bills or anything like that, but I'm just going to go and kind of go through the whole process of writing out your budget. All right. For us, I've got this dated for February. So this was a book that I used last year, didn't use it the whole year, and so I'm going to finish out. I wrote in the dates for February 2022. So the way I budget, our paydays in this household went from February the 4th all the way down to February the 17th. And then a new one starts on the 18th, and it will go until March the 3rd. That is from payday to day before the next payday. Okay. Hope I've explained that to where it's easily understood. Okay, and then you write in what bills that are due on the days, and you may not have but 1 or 2 bills that are due in this period. But you write down your whole month's worth of bills on the day that they're due, or the day they're automatically drafted, or how you pay your bills. And you would just write down all month what is automatically drafted and what you have to physically pay, or write a check for and send it in the mail, whatever you have to do. And that will determine how much you need to set. Be nice to Jack. How much you need to set aside for your bills. Okay, I'm going to get out a piece of this cardstock here, and I'm going to show you. So, say your pay period is February the 4th through the 17th. So number one priority is your bills. And, well, you write out your income. Now, I don't know if she budgets with my nephew or she budgets by herself, but I write out 3 lines for budgeting. His, my husband's, mine, and other. The other is for any extra money that came in that you weren't expecting, or you sold something, or just a side hustle you may have, whatever. And then you would put down the total of your income. Total income. Okay, and then say your bills were, say your income, let's just do nice round numbers so that it's easy to do the math in my head. So say your bills were $1,000. Then you have left over, you have $1,000 for that 2 weeks. Then, close up my calendar here. But in this process, you need to write out each individual bill, whether it be electricity, water, itemize those bills and how much they are, and then do your total. And we would have left over in bills, we'd have $1,000. Then our next thing is our cash envelopes. Now in my cash envelopes, it is spending money, groceries, gas, and prescriptions. Now this a budget is very, very personal, and my budget would not work for another household. My spending, I get $40 a week. Somebody else may decide that they need $100 a week. I don't know. But based upon my cash envelopes, I budget, it would be $80 for 2 weeks. You have to remember that you're budgeting for 2 weeks, $40 a week for my spending. Groceries, I budget, I'm going to say, do it based upon maybe if I was single. I'm not single, but haven't been single since I was 17, but I'm going to do the groceries at $150 and gas at $100 and prescriptions at $25. So that's $190, $290, $310, $315. I believe that's what that is. And left, what you have left is $685. After you put your money aside for these categories, you would add them up, come to a total of $315, subtract it from the $1,000 that you had left, and you have $685. Now you get into sinking funds. Now the very first thing you need to do in your sinking funds is rapidly save up for an emergency fund. Emergency fund will save you in the long run for any of those little things that come up. Flat tire, you need to have something repaired, a necessity that needs to be repaired, like maybe your refrigerator has broke down and you need to get it fixed, or you trying to think of a little emergency that pops up that can mess up your budget. Say your work shoes. An example of some of the things I had to put up with. The shoes that you have to go to wear to work. Say this puppy decided one night while you were asleep that he would chew one of them up, and you need a new pair of shoes. Those are things that can really mess up and throw your budget off kilter. So save up on your only emergency fund. You need to save up at the very beginning. The very first priority is to save up the emergency fund. It's suggested to start out with $1,000 in your emergency fund. You drop down to $685, stuff that into your emergency fund, and then you're done. You're done with your budget for 2 weeks. Now, another thing I really suggest is to have a miscellaneous fund. Some people call it an oh snap, oh crap, whatever fund. That is for anything that you may have forgotten about. You've got to go to a baseball game. Your child is playing baseball. You've got to go to a baseball game, and you're going to go to the concession stand and get a drink, or that could fall under spending money. Or you need you budgeted $100 for gas for 2 weeks, and you forgot that your child has a doctor's appointment in another city, which would apply to my niece, because their son, my great nephew, has got type 1 diabetes, and he has to go from one city to another city here in Alabama to go to the doctor, and maybe they forgot about that they had to go. So and it would cost probably stop and get something to eat or something to drink, and then there's extra gas, whatever. But a miscellaneous does run, is handy. It's for everything that falls outside of your envelope system of what you have. So I would probably, in this incident, put $600 in the emergency fund and then put $85 into a miscellaneous envelope. Now these envelopes, the miscellaneous, spending, grocery, gas, maybe the prescription envelope, you would keep those in your wallet to have handy for you on your day-to-day spending. Okay, once you have done this, the next paycheck you get, say the bills that you have due in that particular pay period is only $550. Then you would have you would deduct the $550 from your $2,000 income. Say it's consistent every 2 weeks. I don't know how much it is. I don't have any idea what your numbers are on your bills or anything. But say your income is another $2,000 for the next 2 weeks, and your bills are only $550. You would deduct the $550 from the $2,000, and you would have $1,450 left over. Now I stay pretty consistent on my cash envelopes. My cash envelopes are pretty much consistent every 2 weeks. It usually doesn't waver from pay period to pay period. Pretty standard on the cash envelopes. The cash envelopes is a day-to-day spending that you're going to spend. You know you're going to spend, and that's what cash envelopes are. And you would have $1,450 going into this category, and your standard is, you may raise this because it's somebody's birthday and you need extra things from the grocery store for a birthday, whatever. It's personal. You decide how you need this written out. But say you have a standard $315 cash envelope system going on, and you've got $1,450 left over after you paid $550 of bills with a $2,000 income. You have $1,450 left over. Now you need to deduct this $315 from that, and you come with a total of, let's see, you have $835 left over after you cover your cash envelopes. Then you take the $835 and you move down here to sinking funds, and we only need $400. Okay, let me mark this out and move miscellaneous up here to our cash envelopes and say, you didn't spend all of that, and you just want to put $50 in there. We'll deduct that from here because I've already, let's see, we moved the cash envelopes up to $365, taken away from the $1,450, and now I'm going to have to write it out. $365, and the reason I picked the $50 is I'm assuming you used none or a small amount of your miscellaneous. Even maybe you used half of it. Maybe you used half of that miscellaneous, and you just want to add to it. You may only want to add $20 to it. Whatever. It's, like I said, it's up to you. We have 1,000 and that's not right. $1,450 and take the $365 away. It's 5, 8. It's $1,085. I don't know where did I come up with that. You have $1,085 left over. After you deduct your cash envelopes from what's left from your bills, you have $1,085 left over. And then when we get down here to the emergency fund, you only need $400 more to fully fund your small emergency fund. So we would add another $400 to this, and we have our $1,000. And now we have $685 that we can play with for sinking funds. Now, sinking funds, a lot of people get confused on sinking funds. Now, if you are a veteran budgeter like I am, you know exactly what sinking funds are. Sinking funds are small savings accounts. You know that you've got a bill coming up in October. Excuse me. You know you've got a bill coming up. Let me get a drink. You know you've got a bill coming up in October for car tags. So we're going to write down car tags. And you know that your car tags are, say your car tag is $250. Well, you've got March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. You've got 8 months left to pay to have enough money saved up to pay for your car tax. And they're $250. So we'll take $250, divide that by 8. 8 months. So that would be every other payday, every 4 weeks, you would need to save up roughly $32. $32 is a little bit over by a few cents, but you would save up $32 every month. Now, if you wanted to save this up every pay period, you would only save $16. That way, you would cut it in half, and you would only be saving $16 bi-weekly. And this is monthly. Okay, and then there's Christmas. Christmas comes up every year. It comes the same time every year. It is not a shock for Christmas to come up because it's been coming up every year for a lot, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. Christmas has come up, and it comes the same time of the year, and it's not a shock. You know it's coming up. And say you want to save up $1,000 for Christmas. Well, at this point in time, you have about 10 months left to save up for Christmas. So you want to save $1,000. You would need to save $100 per month. So $100 per month or $50 per paycheck. Okay, and then we're only up to $66, and we have $685 to work with. We have $685 to work with for our sinking funds. Okay, you want to save up for your child's birthday. Okay, I know for a fact that this child's birthday comes up in September. So we have March, April, May, June, July, August. Okay, I want to have my money saved up by August for his birthday in September. You have 6 months. Okay, say you want to save up $300 for their birthday. You would need to save, for 6 months, you would need to save $50 per month or $25 per paycheck. Okay, and you may get paid, I don't know, she may get paid weekly. I'm not sure. Like I said, I don't know her numbers. If she wants to give me her numbers, I can help her do a more thorough budget and give me her sinking funds. Okay, then say you have Father's Day, and you want to save up for Father's Day. Father's Day, you have March, April, May, and we'll go ahead and count June. Father's Day is the 3rd Sunday in June, so you have 4 months. And you want to save up $100 for Father's Day. You would need to save $25 per month or about $13. We don't do pennies on the sinking funds. We don't use change on the sinking funds. So about $13 every paycheck. So now we are up to 66, 86, 91, 101, $104. We're up to $104. And we're working with $685 of this paycheck that we can put into our sinking funds. Say you know that you probably gonna have to have a new phone sometime in in a few months. You're gonna have a new phone. Do not finance a new phone. That is a debt. We're trying to not have any debts. And a new phone, say it's gonna be $1,000 for a new phone. I know I bought one almost 2 years ago, and it was $1,100 and something. And I paid cash for it because I did not want it to be, because there's finance charges on that, there's interest on that, and so if I have to do without a phone, I will do without a phone in order to not finance a cell phone. I'll just have to go without. But you want to put aside $1,000, and there's really no time on this. You don't know when you're going to need a new phone. It's not a want. It's when your phone, you get it one day and it will no longer charge, or it no longer comes on. That's happened to me. I got it one morning and it no longer would turn on. So you can just say, okay, I'm going to put aside $100 a month for a new phone, or $50 a pay period. And okay, this is all the sinking funds I'm going to have. Now, you may have 50 sinking funds. I don't know. It's personal. You may have 50 sinking funds. But all your sinking funds now are adding up to 100, 29, 49, 54. So you have $154 that you have in sinking funds per paycheck. Each month, you're putting aside 200, 275, 277, and 307. I think that's right. 307 per month, or $154 per paycheck. So you had $685 to work with. We go down into the debt category. That means you have $531 to work with on your debt. You take your smallest credit card balance. This is the Snowball Method. You need to have a separate piece of paper where you have listed all of your debts, all of your credit cards, all of your loans, your car loans, your everything. List out everybody you owe money to and how much it is. And you take your smallest credit card balance. Say your smallest credit card balance is $1,000. You would apply $531 to this smallest credit card balance until it's paid off. But say that the minimum payment each month, the minimum you need to pay to stay in good standing with this credit card company, say it's $50. And you get this paid off. You're going to continue to pay on your, I'm just going to put all credit cards and maybe car. Continue to pay the minimum payments on all of your cards. You have to pay those, and that would be listed here in your bill section. All of your bills, you pay the minimum amount per paycheck, and you have to pay your minimums to stay in good standings with the credit card companies. But pay off your smallest balance first, and so the minimum payment was $50. When you get down to this section, your minimum payment now should be $85, because this is our next lowest balance credit card. List your debts from smallest to largest. And this one has got the next lowest balance, and the minimum payment is $35. You would take the $50 and the $35 and consistently pay $85 toward the next credit card, because this one is paid off. This one is done, over with, it's history. I would personally cut it up. I don't have any credit cards, haven't had credit cards for years, but do whatever you want to with it. Put it in a drawer, freeze it in a block of ice, whatever you have to do. But your minimum balance, your minimum payment now consistently every month would be $85. That is the Snowball Method. You would take what you could pay, what you have left out, what you can spare every payday. You would take what you can spare and hit that credit card hard until it's paid off. Till it's gone. It no longer exists. You have gotten rid of it. You don't need it anymore. You never needed a credit card. Nobody ever, my opinion, that's my opinion, nobody ever needs a credit card. If you can't afford to pay for it, then you don't need it. Now, I know that there's emergencies that come up and things that come up, but if you do the, Rudy, be nice. If you do the budgeting plan properly, eventually you will never, ever, ever have to have, you would have the money set aside for those emergencies and you would not need a credit card. But then here we go. We got another credit card. And there it is. $57 minimum payment. We're going to take the, let's shut this door. He's playing with Jack. Jack is doing better. For those of you who have been following him, he is getting around a little bit. He gets around kind of like an intoxicated dog. He kind of staggers, he falls, but he is in the mood to play again, and he is able to go down the step to go outside, but he can't come back up the step to get inside. But he is doing better, and I'm very thankful for that. He is a sweetheart. We got a $57 minimum payment on this credit card. So we're going to pay $50, we're going to pay the $35, we're going to pay the $57. We're going to lock all of those in together, and that's going to be our minimum payment on the third credit card. And then we're going to do our budget, and what we have left over, we're going to hit that one until it is paid off. And it gets monotonous, it gets a little bit, but is a good feeling to start getting these paid off. By the time you get to your car, say you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 credit cards, or 5 debts, whatever they may be. They may not be credit cards. By the time you get to your car, and you've still been making your minimum payment on your car, the payment that they set up for in the beginning, you are still making that, but you've already got up to all of these minimum payments equal $217. So by the time you get to your car, you're making a payment of $467 on your car. And you continue to pay $467 because you were paying these bills in the past. Right here in the bills category, you were paying these bills in the past. And if you still bringing in $2,000 every 2 weeks, then you still have this money available to hit that car payment at $467. Now, consistency is the name of the game. That is what I preach all the time to anybody that talks to me about budgeting, is consistency. You must be consistent. That is the key word to a successful budget, is consistency. I consistently, every 2 weeks, pay $400 on my truck. It's something I do. I get up in the morning. The direct deposit has gone in during the night while I was asleep on Thursday night. I get up and I go to GM Financial and I click in the numbers and hit pay, and I pay $400 consistently every 2 weeks for my truck payment. Now I've come up with a new plan to kind of hit that a little harder, and I will be discussing that in one of my personal budgeting videos. But I hope I've explained this well, and you may have more sinking funds. There maybe you might want to do some home maintenance. You may want to have a home decoration fund where that you can go out and purchase a few things for your home to decorate your house. Or you may have a flower fund where that you in the spring you like to buy flowers to put out in the flower bed. I mean, and a budget is not going to be perfect. There will be a lot of adjusting. I still do a lot of adjusting on our personal budget. I will show you an example of that right quick. That's not the right book. This is my favorite book. This is my budget for February the 18th. That's not good. No. Here it is, February the 18th. I have been scratching on this thing and scratching on this thing all day long, trying to get my numbers just right and all of that. So, you know, I know some people's budgets are very neat and their handwriting is impeccable. It's beautiful. I saw a girl the other day who had written out her sinking funds, or no, she did a debt confession and wrote out all of her debts, and her handwriting was absolutely gorgeous. Mine is not. I'm left-handed, and I'm a sloppy writer. I can read it if it's not too old. If I wrote it a year ago, I might not be able to read it. But if it's been the last few days, I can usually read my own handwriting. But I'm extremely left-handed. But you know, all of these things are personal. This may not look anything like you want your budget to look, but this is the basic setup for a zero-based budget. You take your income, you deduct your bills, and then what you have left, you deduct your cash envelopes. You take what's left, you deduct your, you start out with your first sinking fund. It's going to be your emergency fund. Get that built up before you start paying off any debt or anything. Get that emergency fund built up to $1,000. And then you're going to get into some sinking funds so that when these things come up, then you will have the money already set aside. The first year that we did this, I went to the courthouse to pay my property tax. I paid the property tax and the car tax the same day. And I was $12 short. Now, the two together was probably about $700. I only had to come up with $12. That was easy. But in the years past, before budgeting life, before we were budgeting, I would have had to come up with all that $700 at one time. I only had to come up with $12 because I had been sticking some back all year long for the property tax and our car tax. So I was $12 short that day to pay those, and I just took it out of my spending money, paid those, come back, and was extremely proud of myself that I had the money set aside. And then these things are things that, not Christmas is not an absolute have to, but most people feel like it is, and it's important to us, especially when you have children. But basically, until you get your debts paid off, sinking funds should be minimum until you get this debt paid off, and it will click by really, really fast. Our own personal journey started in January of 2020. We had 2 car loans, and we had a personal loan, and we called it the truck payment because it had been the truck payment. The truck had been paid off, and that account stayed open. And when we would go and take out a personal loan for something, it would go back in that same account. So we called it the truck payment, but we had the title to the truck. We'd actually gotten the title back released to us on the truck. But we had the 2 car loans, and we had a truck loan and a camper loan. We had paid the house off 2 years before that. So what happened to us was we started budgeting. It was January, I want to say the 6th or 7th. It was the first payday of January of 2020. Our daughter was driving our spare vehicle to work because her vehicle had some things that needed to be done to it. It needed a battery, it needed brakes, it needed different things. So she was driving our extra car to work. She was living with us at the time, and she had to drive a pretty good piece to work and back. And it was a very cold January morning. She come in about 2 o'clock, and we got a phone call, and we got up and looked, and she was at the end of the driveway, destroyed that car. Absolutely destroyed, totaled it. She a few feet before she turned into the driveway. I mean, a few feet, like 500 feet before she turned into the driveway. A deer had run out and T-boned her in the passenger side. I believe it was the passenger side front quarter panel of the this little SUV. I mean, it done some major damage. It was a big deer. And killed the deer and killed the car. So we had, of course, we had full coverage insurance on it, and we got a check back. The car was worth more than we owed on it, so they called me, and I went down to the insurance company, and they issued me a check for the difference because they paid off the credit union where the loan was, and gave me a check for the difference between the payoff and how much they were allowing us on the car. There was enough left over in that car allowance, in that check. There was enough left over to go to the credit union and pay my car off. I think I had $50 left over. I had enough to pay that car off. In the meantime, a couple of months after we started budgeting, my father-in-law passed away. He had a truck that my husband wanted to keep. It was fairly new, very low mileage on it because he was disabled and didn't go out much. Mostly it was driven by somebody else to carry him to the doctor or to take him to wherever he wanted to go. He liked to ride in his own truck. And it sat in the garage for a few months, and we went and got it, and we paid my sister-in-law for her half of that of a fair market value for that truck. But we had gotten we had inherited a little bit of money at that time that we could go and pay her for her half of that truck. And so I sold my husband's truck. This man came by one day, said, "I want to buy that truck out there." And I had it on the side of the road with a for sale sign on it. And I said, okay. So he paid me cash for it, drove away with it. I took that cash for the sale of that truck, and I went and because the truck had been long ago paid off, I took that money for the truck and went down to the credit union, and I had paid off our camper. We owed like $1,400 on our camper, or maybe a little more than that. I don't remember exactly how much it was, but I did take that proceeds from selling that truck to the credit union and paid off the camper. So between our starting our budget in January to about the middle of June, we paid off a Kia Sorento, a Cadillac, my car. We paid off the camper. The truck may have already been paid off. But we paid off the Cadillac, the Sorento. Of course, the Sorento was gone. And, but we paid off the camper. So we basically, at that point, that's just how our life unfolded in our debt journey. That's how it unfolded. So we were left with just a home equity line of credit, which we still got, and we're still paying on that. And my Cadillac, I could just tell that the electricals and everything on it was electrical. I could tell that the electric system was just about shot in it. It had already it was one of those cars you didn't have to have a key to crank it. You had to have a fob. You had to have a fob, in your pocket or in your purse, and be standing by the car or inside the car to crank it. It was a push button crank, push button start. But you're supposed to be able to walk up to the fob and unlock the door and be able to get in the car. Mine had stopped doing that. I had to walk around to the passenger side, unlock the car, I could open the passenger side door. It would open. The driver's side door would not open. And I couldn't reach it from the back seat. So I would come into the passenger side, reach across the driver's seat, open the door, unlock it from the inside, push it open, and wait to make sure it would stay open, and then get out, close the passenger door, walk around and get in the driver's door, close the door, and take off. And there was some more electrical issues. Like I said, everything on it was electric, everything. So I knew that I was probably going to be put into a bad situation one day and be stranded because I couldn't get in the car, or whatever crazy thing that the electrical system would have done to it. I mean, I have had a car one time driving down the road, and it was electric windows, and it would go up, it would go down, it'd go up, it'd go down, and you had no control over stopping it. So that is how within like 5 months we had no more car payments, we had no more, and we hate that the car wrecked. My daughter wasn't hurt, thankfully that she wasn't hurt. But we had already been saving up money for car maintenance. And so we took our car maintenance money and we did the work that needed to be done on her vehicle to get it back on the road. And that's what we did. So that is basically our debt journey. And it happened fast, the way everything unfolded. It happened, really fast that way. So anyway, I hope this, Amanda, I hope this helps you in your being able to budget. If anybody has any questions, leave them in the comments below. I'll be glad to answer them. I love talking back and forth with everybody and answering any question that I can. I'm not a financial advisor, I'm not a tax expert. I just am but a budgeter, and you learn a whole lot about money doing this. So I hope this helps you out. I hope this helps you figure out how how much you need to put into sinking funds. Bills are self-explanatory. You know how much you need to put in bills. But I hope this is self-explanatory, and how you figure out this is when it's due, how many months you've got, how many paychecks you get, and just divide how much you think you're going to need. Kind of overestimate it a little bit by $10 or $20, and just divide how many paychecks you're going to get or how many months it is until then, and know how much you need to set aside each time so that you have what you need when the time comes to pay for that bill. And most of these are once a year. Sinking funds are usually like once a year, or that sort of thing. So, but I'll be back tomorrow with my budget, and this is payday for us this weekend, and I'll be back with my budget, my personal budget, and a cash stuffing tomorrow. Everybody have a good night, and be careful, and hope and stay healthy, and happy budgeting. Thank you so much. Bye bye.